5 years. 5 long, short years. It's been 5 years. I should be able to get over this. It shouldn't even be a thought in my head. It should be an afterthought in my subconscious. But then again, it's only been 5 years. It's funny, isn't it? How our mind can change our perception of time, how things can be so long ago and eternity past and feel like it was yesterday. Or something could have happened 2 weeks ago and feel like it was forever. How 5 years can just as easily be 5 decades as it can be 5 days. It's also funny the little things we tend to remember. What memories stick, what memories fade. For example, I remember 5 years ago today was also a Friday. And it was cold. It wasn't so cold that I needed layers, but it was pretty up, or should I say pretty down. It was cold enough that it was the only thing that I could feel, because I was stuck in my own head. The curse of having a good memory is that things tend to linger. Things that you'd rather forget, things that can hurt you. To be honest, if I could choose to forget all of this, I wouldn't, but it doesn't make the pain go away. 5 years ago today, I was at a Veterans Day ceremony, as my high school does one every year. I was part of the ROTC unit doing it. I didn't have a speaking part, which is a good thing, because I wouldn't have been able to do it. I was just stuck in my own head, thinking. I was doing what I'm doing now, which is reflecting on days gone by, on old memories. I would think back to elementary school, thought about how when we're little, things aren't that big a deal. Everything's cool, everything's okay, you don't know about the pain in the world yet. I remember we would always, all the guys and the girls would fight against each other. They'd chase each other around the playground, they'd tackle each other. We had a glorious pine cone war, throwing pine cones at each other. I look back on that pretty fondly, and so do a lot of the other people that were there for that. I had an arch enemy. Someone that I was always getting in fights with, not fist fights, but someone I was always arguing with, always bickering with. We were like an old married couple. And it got to the point where my teacher, Miss Bruce, told us, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm going to sit you two together. So I had to sit beside her for the rest of the year. And we still bickered, we still fought. And there was one time I remember, it got to the point we were fighting so much it was distracting class that Miss Bruce said, all right, I've had enough of this. You two are going to teach class for today. So we had to get up, we had to go over the rest of the math homework, hoping we had it right, because that would be embarrassing to be the teacher and have it wrong. I look back on that pretty fondly. It's a good memory. I smile whenever I think of it. But back then, I never would have admitted it. I never would have admitted that was a good memory, that I was happy that that happened. Because as embarrassing as it is, I had a crush on her. I had the absolute biggest crush you can imagine. To be honest, I was a bit of a coward. Scratch that, I was a huge coward. I didn't have the social prowess that I have today, and I use social prowess in air quotes. I was awkward, more awkward than I am now. And you're thinking, how can you be more awkward than you are now? You're already pretty awkward. Trust me, I was more awkward. I was doing that for that entire week. Stuck in my head, reflecting on days gone by. And I started to think of all the other times and great times we had. We didn't go to middle school together because she went to art school after that. And I didn't see her again until about high school. She was still at a different high school, but I decided to do a community theater project that my mom kind of guilt-tripped me into doing because my godmother was directing the play. I didn't want to do it, but in hindsight, I'm pretty glad that I did, because I got to see her again. After that, we didn't necessarily hang out all that much. Like, it didn't just immediately pick up when I started dating her or anything like that. But we did talk way more than we used to. We talked on Facebook every now and then. Anytime I got a text from her, it was probably the happiest moment I had. And I remember thinking, all right, this is enough. I've had it. I'm done. I'm telling her. I'm doing it. This is it. Done being a coward. I decided that on Monday, November the 7th. I didn't find out till the next day. I was too late. Whenever I think about it, and whenever I was there then, and sometimes I still do it now, I can't help but try to convince myself it didn't happen, that it was a nightmare, that it was some bull crap happened, that there was some sort of FBI witness protection program, that she's fine, one day I'm going to run into her out in the world, she's going to have a different name. But it gets to the point where you need to finally accept things. You need to stop living in the past. Not that the memories are necessarily a bad thing. It's always good to remember where you came from. But at some point, you've got to be able to say, all right, I accept it as it is. But I think if I could impart any of you with a piece of advice, learn from my mistake. Don't leave things unsaid. If there's something you need to tell somebody, you pick up the phone, you do it right now. If there's somebody that you have feelings for, if there's somebody that you had something you needed to say to them for the longest time, you do it now. Because you might not always have the chance.